What's at stake? The dropout crisis for girls. What you should know.
Hi, I'm Lara Kaufman. I'm Senior Counsel at the National Women's Law Center, and I'm here today to talk about why dropout prevention is so important for girls. A lot of people think that only boys are dropping out of school at high rates, but in fact girls are dropping out at high rates too, and especially girls of color. And this has a lot of serious consequences for girls, in some cases consequences that are even worse than those for boys that drop out. So I think the first big consequence has to do with unemployment and low wages. The economy is terrible right now for everyone, but it's even harder for someone without a high school diploma. And even in a good economy, girls that don't graduate from high school do far worse than boys who don't graduate from high school. For example, they're much more likely to be unemployed, and they tend to have lower wages. In fact, a girl really can't support a family with the income that she would have from a job without a high school diploma on average. When you look at the statistics, really, it's really hard for girls to get a living wage. The girls who don't graduate from high school tend to make an average salary that is really below the federal poverty line, and experts say that you need an income of higher than the federal poverty line to support a family of three. So girls really have a hard time making it and achieving any kind of economic security without a high school diploma. But also, boys who graduate from high school tend to make a lot more, certainly, again, not as much as they need to live and to support a family, but they tend to make a lot more money, and its little girl has had some college education behind her that she catches up to where a male high school dropout is in terms of earnings. So low wages is a big problem, and a lot of girls who drop out tend to have to rely on public support programs to support themselves and their families. So they're far more likely to have to rely on those programs. So it's more important than ever that girls get a high school diploma, and it's certainly, while we're on the subject, important to encourage girls to pursue fields that are not traditional for females, because those are the fields that tend to lead to higher wage, higher paying jobs that have good benefits. Girls are really still significantly underrepresented in science and technology and engineering fields and math, and those in this global economy, in this new green economy, those are where the jobs really are, and those of course usually require a college degree at least. So it's important to encourage girls to graduate from high school, to pursue fields they might not be otherwise considering, and even in the vocational education context, which we call career and technical education, girls are underrepresented in fields that are not traditional for their gender, and disproportionately enrolled in fields like cosmetology and childcare that really don't pay a living wage. The other consequence I wanted to talk about, or the other reason that it's really important that girls graduate from high school, is to achieve their long-term goals. We know that a lot of girls have very high aspirations for the future, but without a high school diploma, they're really not going to get to where they want to be. And when you think about self-sufficiency and independence and confidence and all the things that we want for our girls and for the women of this country, it's very hard to get there without the high school diploma. The ability to support a family, the ability to have options and not to rely on a man to feel independent and able to pursue your dreams and to survive, that's critically important, and especially important to have a high school diploma in order to get to that point. Girls who don't graduate from high school also tend to have higher health risks and less access to health insurance, and that can have very harmful implications for their long-term health. Girls who drop out of high school and boys who drop out of high school tend to have higher rates of mortality and obesity and cardiovascular disease and cancer, and are less likely to go to regular checkups and to exercise. So it's very important for their health and the health of their children. And that brings me to my next point, which is teenage pregnancy. Girls who don't graduate from high school are far more likely to end up pregnant as teenagers than girls that stay in school. This is especially true for certain subgroups of girls. Teenage pregnancy obviously has long-term implications for a girl's health, but also for that of her children and for her education and her economic security. Children of dropouts are more likely to drop out themselves, so it's a multi-generational problem. There's a lot that schools and policymakers can do to keep girls in school, and a lot of dropout prevention measures are not targeted at girls, but some of the barriers that girls face are different from the ones that boys face, so it would be helpful to get some better data collection so we have an idea of what we're talking about in terms of the reasons that girls drop out, and then to target interventions accordingly. So thank you so much for listening. For more information about dropout prevention for girls, please go to www.nwlc.org/dropout.